Hey everyone! So, in this video, I'm going to be reading you one of my articles in the newspaper. You can also find them on my blog and on my DeviantArt account. So, cool. This is from about March 2016. So the initial title for this video, this article, is The Power of Word Choice, and it's essentially the first article that I wrote for the paper in response to hearing stigmatizing comments on campus about mental health conditions, and this is just my reaction to it. And initially I wrote it under opinions, and everything I wrote for the spring semester 2016 was under opinions. So yeah. I've written probably about I think I wrote 8 articles that semester, and I wrote 15 or so this past semester. So I have a whole bunch of videos for you guys to me reading them out to you pretty much. So yeah, I think that's about it. Word Choice by Raquel. That wardrobe is so schizophrenic. The weather has been bipolar lately. I just killed myself studying. I have heard phrases like these more this semester than any other time in my life. That is not to say it's all suddenly brand new. Rather, I hear these phrases because I'm more aware about mental health and the word choices we use to describe it. These phrases cut through to my very soul when I hear them. We don't often consider how our words may affect others who are silent, nearby, and potentially listening. I know I've fallen for this mistake myself many a time, and I know that it's okay if I do, and that it's okay that other people do as well. We're all human and we all make mistakes. However, I found myself wishing people knew more about mental health awareness and how these phrases can be like swords stabbing someone's flesh rather than just mere words and jokes. I've personally been affected hearing these words. They jostle me and catch me by surprise. I found myself gawking at what may be someone else's ignorance or an unintended joke, but words do have impact. Words carry power. Let me tell you about my experience, and in the end, I'll encourage you to do the same. I'm a junior studying psychology at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, but I'm not graduating for another 2 years. Sounds about right. I'm an artist. I love photography, drawing, painting, making bracelets, writing, and especially drawing on my skin as of late. I love color. I love nature. I can't wait for summer, although I've enjoyed the bits of snow we did get this year. I'm a Marvel fan. I've gotten back into reading books, and fan fiction is wonderful. I've got a plethora of positive coping strategies in my toolbox, and I'm a pretty awesome human being, if I do say so myself. Like anyone else out there reading this, I've had my struggles. For what's relevant, I was diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder back in the fall of 2014. Since then, I began a journey I never would have imagined. Many people aren't aware that OCD is a large spectrum disorder. People who suffer from it can have observable or mental compulsions. Let me highlight that again. Mental compulsions exist too. A person's OCD can be on legitimately any topic it so chooses. As long as it makes the sufferer distressed and gets in the way of their daily functioning, it will have a grand old time. I deal with self-harm and suicide obsessions. That doesn't make me suicidal. It means I get intrusive thoughts and images about hurting myself, even though that is the last thing I'd ever do. It means I'd get so anxious that I might just secretly want to hurt myself, that I don't move from a stairwell for 45 minutes to make sure I'm alright, as if I'd hurt myself while having no intention to do so. I am sharing this because when I tell people that I deal with OCD, many of them misunderstand and think I'm confessing that I'm suicidal. In the context of the OCD, no, I'm not. However, life will always be more complicated than black and white. For all intents and purposes, I am someone who deals with intrusive thoughts about hurting myself and depressive thoughts about hurting myself. This means I have a real roaring party going on in my brain. What's the point of me telling you all of this? My goal is to show that I've been there too. I have been a student, a friend, a daughter, someone you may have passed in the hallway who was, at one point in time, suicidal. I have been told many lies by OCD and by secondary depression. At one point, I believed them, because they were making the most noise in my life, and other people's outside opinions seemed outrageous. At one point in time, whenever I stopped moving, I wouldn't move for several hours. I've skipped classes because I didn't have the energy to make myself get to them. I felt that I didn't belong because I had just been in a psychiatric ward the week before. At one point in time, I struggled deeply, not sure if I'd live to see tomorrow, and not sure if I even wanted to. But things change. Everything changes, and feelings are temporary. Much as we use our words to describe distress, to make jokes, and to speak about mental health awareness, everything changes. The intention of this piece is not to shame anyone for the words that they use, but to bring awareness to a serious topic that is grossly misunderstood and judged unfairly. I want for us to engage in more conversations. I want each person out there reading this who may be struggling to know you are not alone. I want for each person out there reading this to know that it's okay to not know what to say, and that sometimes just being there is more than enough. I want you to consider the words that you use to describe mental health and what words you may be using that perpetuate stigma rather than aid others in this movement to bring mental health to the forefront of understanding. When I feel stigma, I feel wrongfully judged. When I feel stigma, I feel doubt about whether I'm doing the right thing. When I feel stigma, I feel that I should be silent about my suffering. No one should have to suffer in silence, especially when it's emotional or a suicidal crisis. Our silence only perpetuates the problem. We can be silent all we like, but the problem with mental illness and those who are losing their lives to suicide will not suddenly disappear. Whether we know it or not, we are community, and communities work together. We are all a part of each other's lives, whether it's an elevator trip or seeing familiar faces in classes. We all have the opportunity to make impacts on each other's lives. How have you been impacted by stigma? Have you made one of these mistakes in your word choices while joking with friends or just talking about the weather? How might using different words change the meaning of your statement? Who may we be impacting with our word choices? My call to action has begun with writing this article. I hope to get awareness flowing for the conversations to unfold. I believe sharing my voice matters, and I believe this issue is too important to sit in silence. I've grown this past year, and through my struggles, I've come out with a stronger voice than I ever could have imagined. I have only dreamed of doing what I'm doing now and in the coming future. Now I get to actually live it. For that, I am grateful. If you or someone you know is struggling with any distressing issue, this is specifically for people who are at UMass Boston, go to the counseling center on campus. It's available for emergencies and for a therapeutic resource. You can also call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's worth a shot, and they're pretty nice, at 1-800-273-TALK. Getting help is worth it. Remember, it gets better. Recovery is possible. Feelings are temporary. Someone out in the world cares about you. I, for one, do. Stay safe. So that's my first article. They were a lot longer in the spring semester and a little bit in the beginning of this past fall semester, and then I had to limit my words a bit, so they go shorter after that. But stay tuned for the next one, and I hope you enjoy this video, and if you want, you can spread it, share it, do whatever you want with it. Yeah, if you want to see the text version of this, it's on my blog, and that will be linked somewhere. It's on my profile and stuff, so you can check it out there. Toodles. Stay safe.